A Plague Tale Innocence is a 2019 released action-adventure stealth game that was developed by Asobo Studio and published by Focus Home Interactive for PC, Windows and Xbox One. The game is set in 1300s France, where everyone spoke English with a French accent on default, but apparently the game also has a French and German language options too. In this game, we play as a teenage French noblewoman and her younger brother who was given a sheltered upbringing due to having been born sick from an illness that the medical knowledge of the time couldn't identify. I myself had never played this game before, and so I had no idea what it was about, outside of being set in the Middle Ages around the same time as the Black Death. But having played through the game now, it's basically like The Last of Us Part 2 if Joel didn't die like it is a big sister simulator where you make your way through the Black Death-ravaged medieval Europe while holding hands with your younger brother. Pretty much like how another game I have not played is a Big Brother simulator where you go around somewhere while holding hands with your younger brother. And a couple of weeks ago I was on an Xbox Team stream where I learned that a sequel was coming out later this year. So, let's recap my experience playing the first game in preparation for when the second one will be coming out. I'll do this like how I did the Sonic games, meaning that I will be commenting the gameplay when it becomes relevant, so there won't be a review section after the recap is over. And I will be spoiling the game's story too for those who haven't played it. That is how all of my recap videos are done. But I feel obliged to mention it here now in the beginning just in case for new viewers who come across my content with this video. Speaking of which, if you like this video, feel free to subscribe so I can make the balance between the subscribers and non-subscriber viewers tip over the other way around as shown here. And now let's begin. The game is divided into 16 chapters like if this was a book, where we begin by playing as Amicia de Rune, the eldest child of the de Rune noble family, whose patriarchal father Robert likely wanted a boy, and that is why Amicia is allowed to walk around wearing pants. While out in the forest spending some father-daughter time with their dog and teaching Amicia how to use the sling, their dog Leon ends up running into a hole in the ground that must have many centuries later turned Corporal Lawrence into SCP-106. Yeah. What happened to it?
My dog. Who did this? Leon! Leon!
What devilry is this?
Returning back to their home estate, Father Robert sends Amicia to tell what happened to her mother Beatrice, who works as an alchemist. Beatrice, however, senses something else happening and orders Amicia to look after her brother Hugo, with whom she has not interacted with much due to his illness keeping them separated.
It's me. Your sister? Amicia?
Hello.
We haven't seen each other much. Mummy will be back soon.
Move! Come on!
Unfortunately, this is where something no one could expect happens when an Inquisition led by a medieval Darth Vader shows up and kills their father for refusing to tell where Hugo is.
I won't ask again. Where is your son?
In good hands.
See their father killed is all Amicia needs to know that their home is not safe anymore, and so she is forced to fully embrace her role as the eldest sibling to protect Hugo in leading him to safety, as the game teaches the player how the stealth works, or is supposed to work. Eventually, they reunite with their mother and continue their way in leaving the estate through the gardens, and teach the player more stealth mechanics in how to distract the enemies and how to send Hugo to open locked doors.
Coming.
Amicia, you have to help him next time.
Sorry.
Ow. My head.
What is wrong with him?
An attack. Listen to my voice, Hugo. You know how this goes.
My eyes. My head.
Listen to
What
me.
illness does he have?
Think of the cloud that you breathe in and blow out. In, out. Like that slowly.
Mother, we can't
Stay here. Give him a little time. Are you alright, Hugo?
I think so.
So, let's continue. Courage, my darling.
Eventually, they reach the borders of their estate, where Mother Beatrice tells Amicia to take Hugo to another alchemist Laurentius she has worked with, and then she gets killed off screen, aka not really. This leads to Amicia needing to run away from her killers into the forest with Hugo, while trying to explain why Mommy is not coming with them, and jump into a river, ending the first chapter. The second chapter has Amicia and Hugo come to shore in a nearby village, where in trying to look for help they end up as scapegoats for the ongoing plague.
No! Wait, we're just looking for someone.
And you found him. It's your damn music what brought them out, huh? Those dirty vermin that invaded our church. That filth would attack our children in their beds and gave them the black thing. But now you found Conrad Malfour. And I'm telling you, this is the last village you'll infect.
Amicia!
Come on!
Once again, the siblings need to run for their lives and stealth through hiding places until this nice old widower Clervy gives them sanctuary and a change of clothes that used to belong to her own grandchildren. Clervy also teaches Amicia how to use a workbench to upgrade her sling, but there Hugo also finds a hammer to use in throwing a tantrum about not understanding that his parents are dead, and Amicia has to break the bad news to him.
Mommy!
Shut up! You're going to get us killed!
Mommy will protect us!
That's enough!
I want to see
Mommy is dead, Hugo! You'll never see her again. Or Daddy.
Amicia.
You're lying!
Had to be told at some point.
They were killed at the house. Both of them, so shut up!
Lying! Lying! I hate you!
Please stop.
Hugo, no!
Without saying goodbye to Clervy, the de Rune children run away from her house, and of course Hugo runs right back into the hands of the villagers, forcing Amicia to
Daddy, I didn't want to.
Amicia!
Ai!
Amicia!
Hugo! I'm coming!
I could have probably done that without being that fast in
Please
doing
say
it.
you
I could
can.
have probably...
Please say-
But Hugo just keeps running away and eventually is caught by the game's first boss Conrad, whom Amicia needs to fight by dodging his attacks and strip him of his armor by throwing rocks at him until his head is exposed. David and Goliath, or
Amicia. You killed him.
Come on.
The third chapter has Amicia and Hugo making their way through a church and get help from a monk, who dies to the supernatural plague symptom of which this game was built on, but not before pointing them to the right direction. Anyway, these rats are like the Taken from Alan Wake, as they are waves of vermins with a hive mind that fears light. But for some reason, Amicia is not smart enough to keep all the torches she finds with her and gambles both her and Hugo's life in believing there are still light sources to protect them. This chapter goes through in teaching the player different ways of how to use the light to keep the rats at bay and how to avoid them, but not explain why Amicia keeps leaving the torches she finds behind when she has to climb over anything. In the final stretch, they need to get through this thing that I don't even want to know what it feels to touch or what it smells, with sticks that burn so fast that Amicia should carry more than one of them with her. Out in the woods, Hugo's illness causes him to pass out, and Amicia holds him. In the fourth chapter, Amicia and Hugo need to once again avoid the Inquisition Knights while on their way to alchemist Laurentius's farm, with Hugo deciding to be a kid with big sis Amicia before getting another episode where Amicia has to carry him. Eventually getting to the farm, Amicia and Hugo find the rats dancing everywhere that has no light to bother them. Unfortunately, this includes whatever place Laurentius was at doing something and was bitten by the rats, so getting the plague and cannot help them.
Hugo. Here.
The Inquisition came. We lost everything. There was nothing I could do.
Of course. They came for him. An evil. An ancient evil courses through your family's veins. In its blood.
Okay.
Your mother and I attempted to slow its progress. But ever since the Great Break, the process has quickened.
So how is she
You
sick?
must protect him, Amicia. Continue your mother's work.
Fortunately, Laurentius has an apprentice, Lucas, who has studied under him and could help them. Young Lucas starts impressing Amicia by teaching how to throw balls of fire with her sling in his underground lab, but getting out of there, the rats become more aggressive as the night has fallen, and those little bastards are strong enough to chew out the house Laurentius was in.
Lucas, wait! Look out! Do something! We have to leave. Now! Master! Hey! Stop! We need you!
This leads to Amicia, Hugo and Lucas to set fire on a horse carriage and run after it until they reach a boat by the river and sail away. Good thing they can swim. The 5th chapter opens with Lucas showing Amicia how he is a man while Hugo sleeps, by sharing his mature knowledge on the illness Hugo is suffering from. Among others, Lucas tells Amicia that the Black Death is a supernatural phenomenon that has happened before a long time ago in the past, meaning that there is an old chateau which should have a laboratory from that time that he needs to work at. So, they begin to make their way towards that chateau, through the battleground where the French and the British fought during the 100-year war. So naturally, it's full of corpses that attract rats, which Amicia, Hugo and Lucas need to avoid by going from one light source to another. Eventually human enemies come across them, and Amicia needs to become a better version of the 2013 Tomb Raider and kill everyone threatening them.
Come on! This way!
Except this guy whose life can be saved by leaving the torch behind here and lighting this lamp next to him over here.
You saved me! Oh, thank you! Thank you!
You won't give the alert, will you?
The alert? No! I'm behind the thing you'll let you pass it. Go ahead. I didn't say anything.
Good.
And then Amicia, after picking up her torch again, drops it to the marshes on purpose.
Oh no! The torch!
We'll do without it, Amicia.
Lucas, who is intelligently superior to everyone else, sees this as his chance to impress Amicia again by giving her a knockout bomb to do stealth attacks on the human enemies that she couldn't realistically knock out with the physical force of a 15-year-old girl. Getting through the battlefield, the three end up getting used as a distraction by two thieves, and so the siblings get caught as Lucas is told to run away. Chapter 6 is Amicia in captivity with her sling and other equipment taken away from her so she and Hugo could be sold as ransom to the Inquisition. The thieves who caused them to get captured, however, return to help them get free and are introduced as twins Arthur and Melly, who can communicate with whistles that give more direct instructions than possible.
Contagion. It is
Barrel with the spears. Well done. Get ready to go.
just the beginning. There's no room for a war in this. King Edward.
Good job, Arthur.
Let's go.
As Melly helps Amicia get her stuff back, we get to see how stealth in this part of the game is a joke, especially when they reach Hugo's cage and Amicia's escape is realized, leading to everyone guarding it to leave and allow Amicia to let Hugo out of it. And when they are ready to leave the enemy camp, the medieval Darth Vader arrives to buy them for the Inquisition, which leads to Arthur to give them a distraction to do a kujajuoksu, where Amicia needs to kill more guards and hide under a body.
It's Arthur! We have to hurry!
Over here!
Let's go, let's go!
Chapter 7 sees Amicia and Hugo follow Melly to a safe house she and Arthur have in the woods. On the way there, Hugo gets on another episode and Amicia has to carry him before they can rest at the safe house, where Melly lets them know that she and Arthur rescued them only because Lucas had told them they were rich.
Who's going to pay us then? What are you talking about?
Your mate's Lucas. He said you're rich. Just forget it, alright? Take Arthur's straw mattress and when he finally gets here, we'll have a proper discussion.
They however need to flee once the Inquisition soldiers eventually follow their tracks there. Despite earlier telling Amicia she doesn't care much for alchemy, Melly gives her a new throwable that can be used to make the enemy soldiers take their helmets off and become more vulnerable to rocks. And in this part of the chapter I ended up failing at stealth so many times that I decided to turn it into a montage. Enjoy!
Someone here! Get back here! Over there! I found them! Come on, I'll tell them you put...
I'm not gonna watch another death scene. When they finally got past these enemies, they come across a lone enemy walking the captured Lucas and save him. Here, Melly confronts Lucas for letting her and her brother think Amicia and Hugo are rich and so financially worth rescuing.
Saltpeter, alcohol, and liver. Mix them together. All right. Throw it to the rats.
It's an incendiary grenade.
Luminosa.
Resuming back to their way to that chateau, the four need to get through a hidden cave entrance Melly was able to find, and then this atmospherically pleasing looking cave lake with a boat that takes them across two people at a time. Outside the cave, the four find their way to that chateau, which has a complicated anti-rat defense mechanism in the courtyard that they need to use in making the chateau rat-free for them to live in.
We did it! We pushed them back!
The castle saved our lives.
Yes, Laurentius was right.
To celebrate our victory, would you mind if we get out of the rain, please?
Right, to the tower!
Fire them up.
It's huge.
We'll have time to explore tomorrow. This is our home now.
The next short chapter shows how Amicia and Hugo have taken to live at the chateau, with Lucas having taken over the alchemist laboratory he said would be there.
Well done, Lucas. You're a sorcerer. Amicia, come on.
I'm coming.
After Amicia and Hugo have done a sibling thing in playing with the chateau's echo, Melly lets herself be known to them and talks to Amicia about having learned that Arthur was taken to the bastion nearby, and that she plans to break him out of there.
Tim.
Amicia, look.
Listen. With Hugo, it doesn't look easy, but believe me, it's worth it. He will save you. They always end up saving us. Even if, you know, brothers, sometimes you just want to kill them.
The symbol is Amicia.
I believe you. Anyway, don't leave without saying goodbye.
As if that was my style.
Amicia, please come.
Yes, Hugo. What did you find?
Later, after paying a tribute to their parents, Amicia notices the veins in Hugo's neck, signaling that his illness is becoming worse as Lucas joins them.
The macula is spreading through his blood. The books say there are
that's not a
7
tumor
thresholds
anymore. That's
in the process.
some
And
blood
at
poisoning.
each threshold, the carrier may be lost.
How much time do we have?
Very little. Hugo is nearing the first threshold. My master and your mother were trying to slow the process down.
But how? What were they doing?
They were working on a very complex elixir that would allow him time to prepare.
And do you know how to do it?
I don't have their knowledge, but their work was inspired by a forbidden book, the Sanguinis Itinera.
So perhaps with the book?
I'm afraid not. The Sanguinis Itinera is dangerous in the university basement. Just getting there would be near impossible. Suicidal even.
Normally, yes. But if we take advantage of the current chaos, we might have a chance.
I know the place. It's in town not far from where they keep my brother.
And so Amicia and Melly leave for the town to help each of their brothers. The 9th chapter sees Melly and Amicia infiltrate the nearby town where Amicia once again needs to learn how to balance her abilities at stealth after going into a separate direction than Melly. In her way to that university Lucas told her to go, Amicia also needs to go under this obvious rat nest by feeding them hanging corpses.
Think of Hugo. This is all for him.
At this one point, Amicia also learns that the Inquisition has learned how to use the rat shit to somewhat control the rats in making them go to wherever it is thrown, and she also takes the initiative to abuse this technique. And at this part of the chapter, I came to realize again that stealth is a joke in this game, because Amicia can both kill nearby enemies without their comrades realizing it, and hide/run away from them long enough that they forget she exists. This is worst case of stealth being too easy than in Skyrim. Yeah, it's really unbelievable that they don't care. Things happening right next to them. There is stealth, and then there is just bullshit. Like that guy, how didn't that guy hear anything?
Get away! Get away!
And after getting past that, Amicia just runs past this heavily guarded main entrance and enters the university through the side door. The 10th chapter has Amicia look for the forbidden book Lucas told would be found by following the roses, and comes across more ridiculous cases of how stealth is becoming a joke in going forward. Okay, that's just ridiculous. It happened right next to him, and that guy acts like nothing happened.
Shit, not that. And...
Okay, some line with the reality here, because that is not even ridiculous. Okay, that is the book case turn of ridiculous. After getting through this part, where the rats need to be lured away from this one point and kill the guards so Amicia can go forward, she finds the true antagonist of the game, Grand Emperor Inquisitor Vitalis Palpatine.
Lord Nicholas continues his search.
In which case, the only thing that can help us find the book is the son of a smith. You built that door with your father. Now, you'll open it for us.
We were asked to build that door precisely to keep out scum like you.
I am the Grand Inquisitor Vitalis Benevent. What is your name, boy?
Roderick.
I do not wish for Roderick to expire before he has opened this door. Do not commit the same mistake you made with his father.
Realizing that the Inquisition is after the same book as Amicia is and that Roderick can get her to it, she follows them in another stealth sequence to that secret door and deals with the heavy guard the only way the game allows it.
I don't know who you are, but thank you.
We need to leave. The other guards must have heard that. What's that door?
A special order. My father's masterpiece.
And do you know how to open it? Because that would be a real help.
Hey, you there! Guard!
Roderick opens the door while Amicia keeps the guards at bay, and eventually they reach the hidden library under the university, where clearing the way to the needed forbidden book is more than likely taken from the Uncharted series. After getting the book, Grand Emperor Inquisitor Vitalis Palpatine and his guards catch up to them, and his unholiness reveals that he knows what the illness Hugo is suffering, called macula, is from, because he has been trying to get that very same illness for himself.
What do you expect to do with that book?
Save my brother!
And by taking it to an expert.
And that book, I can save the world.
Enough. Come on.
Oh, your sales
This way.
pitch is not very nice. Roderick, however, pulls Amicia away before the Grand Emperor Inquisitor Vitalis Palpatine can turn her to his side, and they escape the library with a hidden back door. Fleeing from the university, that by the way was set on fire when Amicia dropped the chandelier, and Roderick is proven to be strong enough to take out the guards bigger than him. Also,
Wait. When they took me to the Bastion to question me, I saw the alchemists making some stuff they called the Extinguish. It puts flames out. I was going to save it for later, but...
he says he saw the alchemists use this stuff, but how did he get his hands on it? Anyway, they use that stuff to put out fires to feed guards to the rats, and then run away from the burning university, which hopefully had copied versions of books that are also held elsewhere. Chapter 11 is another short one, where Amicia returns to the chateau with the book and Roderick.
So you succeeded?
Here. Have to warn you, smells a bit burnt.
Who's he?
Roderick. But shh.
The Sanguinis Itinera.
What is this book about?
It's the story of a little boy who's going to get a lot better now.
3 weeks pass, with Lucas burying himself into his work, and Roderick being given a home at the chateau, where when he is showing Amicia something he found, Lucas then calls out to her that Hugo's illness has progressed so far that they need to get him some medicine done soon. Unfortunately, the laboratory they have at the chateau is not good enough for Hugo's needs, which then gives Amicia the idea that her mother Beatrice's laboratory back at the de Rune estate could be what they need. Before deciding to leave there, Roderick calls out to Amicia and Lucas that Melly has arrived with her brother Arthur, and they have news.
But yes.
Amicia, we came because, well,
Yes.
Arthur, you tell her.
After our little adventure with your heretic-burning friends, I ended up in an Inquisition cell. One day I saw the guards accompany a prisoner who looked the worse for wear. Those bastards wanted her to tell them where her son was, so they threatened her. And I heard her name.
Mummy is alive.
Beatrice de Rune.
Mother is alive?
Knowing that her mother is alive is good news to Amicia, but hearing that her rescue is a high impossibility, she realizes and tells the others not to let Hugo know of it. While the camera pans out to show the player that Hugo is awake and heard everything, so setting up that cliché.
Hugo mustn't know anything of this.
Even that she's alive? It might help him.
And what will we say when he wants to see her? Tell him nothing, alright?
Oh. Hugo, in likely hearing Amicia saying that, then has another episode, which then gives her and Lucas the needed justification to return to the Rune estate to look for her mother Beatrice's laboratory. Chapter 12 sees Amicia and Lucas return to the de Rune estate, which has been laid to waste by the Inquisition and the rats, of which behavior has begun to have anomalies as Amicia comes across her father's untouched corpse. Is it?
Is he your father?
Which is then turned into rat food, and in going through the estate ruins, Amicia and Lucas come across more untouched corpses, before finding and realizing that Beatrice must have had her alchemy laboratory hidden somewhere Amicia was never allowed to go. The way there is on another set piece where Lucas has to show Amicia he is a strong man who can push a cart with a light, while Amicia uses her sling to throw fires at the more aggressive rats brave enough to try to put out their light.
Thank you. Thank you, Lucas. You see? You're pretty tough.
Yes, but I don't think I'll ever walk again.
Making it to Beatrice's laboratory, Amicia has to light more fires under a floor with those quickly burning sticks. And in the main laboratory, the rats attack again when Lucas finds the means to create an elixir for Hugo. That makes this part of the game another Uncharted-inspired set piece, where Amicia has to move the center chamber light to clear the rats from the parts of the lab she has to go to get the needed ingredients, and help Lucas to get to the distillery to finish the elixir. And when it is done, the rats suddenly become passive in not wanting to attack them anymore, giving them a way to live without struggle and return to the chateau to give the elixir to Hugo.
Hey, look! We did it! The elixir! Lucas made it. Here you go.
It might be a little bitter.
Never mind. Drink it in one gulp. Very good.
So, am I cured now?
Well...
In any case, you'll soon be a lot better.
Amicia? Will we never see Mummy again?
Oh, Hugo. I told you. She won't be coming back. No.
Then they go to sleep, and of course Amicia wakes up to find Hugo gone, with the 13th chapter being how she runs after him and hits her head when tripping, which leads to a rather creative dream sequence reusing previous chapters' assets as a way to teach Amicia what she has been doing wrong in thinking she did right.
Let me see him!
He doesn't want to see you.
Who are you talking to, Mummy?
I have to see him!
He doesn't need you anymore.
That's a lie! Are you alright?
No.
What's the matter? Why did you leave?
Why didn't you tell me Mummy was alive?
It was for your own good, Hugo.
That's not true. You didn't want me to know.
Don't say that!
You're jealous. Jealous. Let go of me!
Hugo, no! 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 Hugo, I need you!
I'm coming!
This is a very creative nightmare, I must admit.
I can't see you!
No! No! Shut up! Let go of me!
What are you doing?
No! No, Nicholas! Don't touch him! No!
Where is your
Hugo! Run! Get away from me!
There is no one there. Come. Let us go.
It took... She walked maybe 3 meters into the rats and then they took notice, yeah. Chapter 14 has us playing as Hugo now, who has surrendered himself to the Inquisition and allowed them to take his blood in exchange for letting him see his mother. The alchemist taking the blood gives a transparently obvious empty promise to Hugo after locking him in a room, where Hugo then finds a way out of through a cupboard, and that makes this chapter a game of Metal Gear Brave Little Boy. As Hugo, the player has to get through the bastion without being seen, and again, the stealth in this game has turned into a joke, because more than one of these guards and alchemists should be able to catch a glimpse of him in the corner of their eye. Shit's sake! That wasn't even luck! Eventually, Hugo reaches the hiding place to see a Vatican-sent Archbishop come to tell Grand Emperor Inquisitor Vitalis Palpatine that he has gone too far in what he is doing. In the middle of that, Grand Emperor Inquisitor Vitalis Palpatine is also brought Hugo's blood, which the Archbishop sees as a cause for excommunication.
That's enough. You play the martyr, but allow me to tell you the truth. You are a vile heretic driven mad by power. The Pope considers you a threat. Vitalis Benevent, you are to be excommunicated.
One can excommunicate a man, Archbishop, but not a saint.
Your inquisition is over.
Meaning that a new era commences. One where puppets such as yourself will kneel and beg me to save them.
Grand Emperor Inquisitor Vitalis Palpatine allows the Archbishop to leave as his medieval Darth Vader arrives and is ordered to go see if Beatrice is awake to be interrogated, giving Hugo away to his mother by following him. Outside of the difficulty spike of this courtyard, the stealth remains to be a joke. Hugo eventually finds his mother, and after a detour of looking for her cell key, Beatrice helps her son overpower the episodes he keeps having, and now the player is given the power to control the rats with Hugo. It took me some trial and error in getting through the rat-infested areas, until Hugo and Beatrice are led to a room where Grand Emperor Inquisitor Vitalis Palpatine and his medieval Darth Vader send rats and guards at them, and Hugo has to defend himself and his mother by making the rats kill the guards. All the while, Grand Emperor Inquisitor Vitalis Palpatine watches them doing all
Good.
Until he decides to turn Hugo into a medieval Luke Skywalker.
Leave him alone! What else do you want?
A lot more. So much more. And you will stay here with me to make sure we get it. Do not worry, Hugo. I have complete faith in you. We shall succeed.
Chapter 15 opens with Amicia waking up from the dream sequence in Chapter 13 with Lucas and Melly by her side, telling her that she was gone for 3 days until Melly and Arthur were able to find her in the woods. 1 month then passes when they are preparing the chateau for the night against rats, when their numbers suddenly increase and drive Amicia, Lucas, Roderick, Melly and Arthur into a trap where the medieval Darth Vader confronts them with a brainwashed Hugo.
Go and do what has to be done.
Hugo.
Roderick drags Amicia after them all and they try to escape from the chateau through the planned escape routes, but that is when the medieval Darth Vader catches up with them and drags Amicia to the courtyard to goad Hugo into killing her.
Oh
Go on, child. She means nothing to you now.
no! I've been looking for you everywhere!
What are you waiting for? Cross the damn threshold, carrier!
Don't listen to him, Hugo!
Enough! I'll let your rats have her.
Don't touch him, you bastard!
Bastard! He gave himself up because you betrayed him. Thanks to him, Vitalis will soon be the sole carrier of the macula.
What? No! Hugo is the only carrier!
What? Blood now flows through the veins of the Grand Inquisitor!
Arthur, no!
Arthur appears in the background and helps separate the medieval Darth Vader from Amicia, who tries next to talk Hugo out of doing what the Inquisition wants him to do, and by the power of love, self-sacrifice, and Dominic Toretto, Big Sister is able to calm her little brother, who can now master the control over the rats.
I got family. You don't turn your back on family. Brother never told you never threaten a man's family, but what's real is family.
And then the medieval Darth Vader appears behind Arthur and kills him as one of the less developed side characters, before we have the secretary fight of the game. No, this is not the final boss of the game, so I'll call it the secretary fight instead. In this fight, the player has to control both Amicia and Hugo together in avoiding the medieval Darth Vader and put out fires to get the rats to send against him. It has to be done 3 times, where the medieval Darth Vader sets fires on his sword and then on his armor, which Amicia can only put out when the medieval Darth Vader can't see her, and the windows of opportunity to do that are few and far between. Which should explain why the medieval Darth Vader came here without any backup soldiers to help in case this exact situation happened. That was too much work. After the fight, Millie is rightfully saddened by her brother's death, and so they decided to next take the power Hugo has mastered at the Inquisition for revenge, and to rescue Mother Beatrice.
To the death.
The death. Chapter 16 has our band of misfit heroes charging at the Inquisition's latest holdout. The way there is not easy, as the stealth begins to flip-flop between joke and a serious challenge with how many throwables you need to balance now in between all the enemy types, controlling the rats, and the fact that Amicia is a one-hit, one-kill kind of girl. On their way, the group gets separated and Roderick gets to see the ruins of his old home before dying to push a cart that protects Amicia and Hugo from an unending threat of archers.
Hugo, go!
Your turn.
We'll get you out!
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Shit! Hugo, come on. We have to go.
I don't know what's next. We get to the cathedral and then what? After saluting our fallen comrade, the remaining ones make it to the Notre Dame, which reminds me, oh yeah, this is in France, and where they enter pretty much by being all, fly my pretties, fly! And in the Notre Dame, Grand Emperor Inquisitor Vitalis Palpatine has clearly fed his congregation to the rats that he can now control in this true boss fight, where the player controls the regular rats through Hugo, and Grand Emperor Inquisitor Vitalis Palpatine controls these white ones. After first walking to Grand Emperor Inquisitor Vitalis Palpatine, he drives them back, and the player has to make the way back while sending normal rats against the white rats, while putting out fires on the way there. And I'm just going to let the footage of the final boss speak for itself.
But get away from them!
The soul of life, patience. They are yours.
Hugo, now's the time!
Oh no! No! Fire too! Come back! Come back to me! We shall be as one. Soon they will join us.
Hit him!
No! Fire too! Come back! How dare you! This is your last affront! No longer yours! And my servants shall rise toward the president! No matter where you go, they will fight! I am the weapon of money! The patience! They are yours!
Now, Hugo! Stop it!
No! Don't let them devour
Three times and that's it. After Grand Emperor Inquisitor Vitalis Palpatine is defeated, Mother Beatrice is rescued, and Hugo watches his elderly blood brother die while being held by Amicia. Then the end credits roll, making you think that was it. But nope, there is still a cooldown chapter 17, where peace has returned to France after the fall of the Inquisition, but with the plague still being present. Melly has gone her own ways, with Lucas still staying with Amicia and Hugo, who buy needed alchemy ingredients before walking through a celebrating village, before joining him at a cart carrying Mother Beatrice. If it wasn't for this final scene of them riding towards a coast, so leaning towards the upcoming sequel, I would have called the ending rushed. And that was my commented recap of A Plague Tale Innocence, where I also brought up the review-worthy things in the game. I was pleasantly surprised with how the story was told, and I'm definitely going to try to play the game again with French dub at some point in the future. Until the sequel game, A Plague Tale Requiem, comes out, leave some likes on the video, comment about this game and what you thought about it if you have played it, share this video for other people to see as well, and subscribe if you haven't to grow my audience for other videos I have coming up in the future. Also, ding the bell for a chance to chat with me when I have chosen what game to stream myself playing next, and may your heart be your guiding key.